We're back on Off the Bench. Reed Mouse filling in for Justin Kinner on 1410 Wing AM. We're going to talk now about Reds offseason moves. When the Reds are playing bad, that's not the case right now. They just got a series win over the Royals. Just like with any sports team, you begin to wonder. You begin to ask the question, who's at blame? Is it the manager? Is it the players just not playing up to what they were billed? Or is it the guy that put everything together, the front office? And I think that it's kind of gone in a bunch of different ways. It just really depends on your personality on who you want to blame. But when that was kind of a question out there, I asked, let's look at what Nick Krall did, what this front office did in the offseason, the different pieces that they brought in, and how you would grade them. How you would grade those moves that they made. You could say it's not enough. You can say what it was, but we're going to talk about each move that they did, and we're going to say, hey, I think that's an A move, or I think that's a B move. I think that's a C, D, whatever it is. We're just going to go down. I've got exactly 7 moves that the Reds made this offseason, and we'll start it right on off with one of the big, more confusing moves, I think, at least from a guy on the periphery of why would they do this, and that was offering Nick Martinez the qualifying offer, giving him a $21 million salary for a really good swingman, but a swingman nonetheless, so you're peaking at like 150 innings. So Nick Martinez getting the qualifying offer, $21 million for 1 year. What would you give that grade?
I think it's a very, 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 very good move.
Do it in a vacuum.
For a team that's not the Cincinnati Reds. I think it's a great move for a team that's not the Cincinnati Reds. And we're getting the benefit here of what he's done this season, which has been very, very productive. He's been incredible in the role that he's had so far. I'm not going to give it an A+, just because I think $21 million Nick Martinez, for the Reds specifically, hindered what they could do to help the offense, which is the number one area of concern for the team. But he's been good, so I'm going to say I'm going to give it a B+.
Okay.
Yeah, right around there. I'll probably go a little lower, closer to a B, because I don't think you're planning on him being a starter, even though he's been great. I think if everything goes according to plan, Rhett Lauder is in that rotation if he's not hurt. So at least at some point this season, so you're paying $21 million for a reliever. That doesn't feel great as a team that doesn't pay a lot of people a whole lot of money. So it is a winning move. It's a good move for a team that's trying to win a championship. It just doesn't seem like the Reds made a lot of other moves that represent a team trying to win a championship. So it left me kind of scratching my head. But he's certainly been good this year, so you can't give him anything less than about a B.
Pearl?
I agree with the B. Too much money, and I feel like a lot of that was tied to, like, he was the only player to receive a qualifying offer from all of the players that were eligible throughout MLB.
He's the only one who accepted it.
Well, yeah, sorry, I misspoke. That's what I meant. I think a lot of that was tied to, the Reds gave him like a Johnny Vandermeer award and stuff, and that probably justified it for them for that qualifying offer. But I thought that was a little weird that he received the Johnny Vandermeer award, just because his shining moment last year was just like the second half of the season.
He pitched very, very well
in
the second half of the year. He struggled early on in the year, and he struggled to go deep into the games, which is that's what we knew. He was a swingman, right? Like he was, you get to the third time of the order, he's not going to get you 7 innings, and I know he's done that very well. He's pitched a lot of innings as of late. I think I'm with you guys. I look at Nick Martinez, and there's absolutely no doubt he is a very good pitcher. The reason no one accepts the qualifying offer is because most often you give a guy that's worth well more than $21 million. You give him the qualifying offer, he goes somewhere else, and then you get another first-round pick. That's what the qualifying offer is. It's just for the teams that don't have as much money. If they lose a key player, they can at least supplement it with another first-round pick. Nick Martinez was clearly the worst out of all the guys that got the qualifying offer. Yeah. So he's just like, you want to give me $21 million? Okay. He might have gotten more guaranteed money if he went to the open market, but he certainly wouldn't have got an AAV of $21 million. Nick Martinez is pitching fantastic. Nick Martinez is on pace for like 190 innings this year, which is incredible, and that's way north of what anybody even closely expected him to make. That being said, I think we all know where this team is in terms of money. I think we all know that this team isn't a big spender. And when I look at this pitching staff, which has been very good to this point, and you've got $21 million wrapped up in Nick Martinez. You got $8 million wrapped up in Emilio Pagan, who's been pretty good. And you got, I think, $12 million wrapped up in Taylor Rogers, who's been pretty good as well. That's $41 million and on 3 guys who at the very most you're going to get 250 innings out of, 275 innings out of, on a team that doesn't have a whole lot of money to spend. To me, that seems like a price too steep. Like, yeah, you don't want to go in there with any experienced relievers. Yeah, this team is certainly worse without Emilio Pagan, Taylor Rogers, and Nick Martinez. But you start to wonder, and I know the question is what are you going to do with that $40 million? But you start to wonder, what does this team look like with an extra $40 million to spend on? I think you can get a little more creative than 2 relievers and a swingman with $41 million. For that reason, I'm going to give this move, still a good move, a B-.
Steve Ross in our chat with a phenomenal point. Have to leave this trade pending for what we'd get from at the trade deadline.
Okay. And someone corrected me, it's $6 million for Rogers. Okay, I thought I saw $12 million on Sports Track. So
2 years?
Is that what it is? It's a
potentially.
I'm
just saying that math would make sense for what you saw $12 million.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm 29. Math's been around for 3 decades. It's been around for 30 years. So I'm
missed it. You just missed it.
Very new to this. All right, we'll keep it going. We'll keep it going with Austin Hayes, the big outfield bat that they got. Everyone knew that the Reds needed an outfield bat. A lot of names were floating around. I don't think Austin Hayes was on a whole lot of people's radar. And then you get Austin Hayes once you saw the dominoes fall, and he's been very good. $5 million for Austin Hayes. Elliot, we'll start with you once again.
A+. I mean, it's as good of a move as you can make for what we can. $5 million for a guy that's hitting 300. I think Terry Francona said last night that we were talking about the X factor before. Austin Hayes has been, the spark plug for this offense this season. For what we expected, for what the outfield projection was, for what we thought his ceiling could be, through all of this, we're still getting him at a bargain price as one of the best hitters in this lineup. So I'm going to say it's an A+. They literally couldn't have done a better job. Nick Krall couldn't have done a better job, at least right now. Not that this always works this way, but some of the names that the Reds fans, including myself, wanted this past offseason, a lot of them, if not all of them, are not having great years. So, Anthony Santander, I don't know where that guy's been all season, but he hasn't been playing baseball. So, I think that I have to give Nick Krall some credit on this one because, and I think we did at the time. I thought we both said at the time that
we were just hoping there was going to be a second outfield addition.
Yeah.
But
$5 million for Austin Hayes is incredible. It's incredible value, and it's been incredible production thus far. As long as he stays healthy, it's an A+.
Yeah, and I think that's the only reason I'm not going to give it an A+, is just the games missed so far, but a significant add for the Reds, and I think even the most optimistic Austin Hayes fans after that signing didn't expect this through the games he's played so far. 308 with 6 home runs, 25 RBIs, and an OPS over 900 is unbelievable. He's given you eliminated one of those question marks we were so worried about in the outfield. When he's healthy, he's a period in the lineup, if not an exclamation point most days. So he's been very, very exciting. And I think what Elliot said is certainly what makes that a better signing is every other outfielder, not in his price range, but in general in free agency this offseason that the Reds could have gotten, he's better than. Teoscar Hernandez stayed in L.A., and they couldn't assign Juan Soto, and he's right there with everyone else.
They were never getting Teoscar, but he's better than Santander and Profar.
That's what I mean. The top 2 outfielders were never coming to Cincinnati, so he's the best option that we could have gotten by a significant margin. So yeah, kudos to them for finding him. And I think the question now at 1 year's $5 million with I think it's a $12 million mutual option next year is, when do you start talking about an extension? Because this seems like a guy that I would certainly like to have here. X Factor. He missed how many games there after his opening stretch? And his team torpedoed offensively.
Yeah.
And he comes back, and they seem to be back a little bit. So, yeah, he means a lot to this team, and he's someone I hope's a Red for a little bit of time.
Yeah, he's on pace for, if he continues where he's at, he's going to hit around 20 home runs. He's going to have an OPS at 950 to where he's probably turning down a $12 million mutual option at that point.
Yeah.
He's probably going to want a little more extra money than that. But yeah, you can certainly get an extension. Pearl, you got a grade for Austin Hayes signing?
Yeah, A, just because of the starting the season on an injury. I definitely, he wasn't on my radar. I didn't really know what to expect. I will admit that. But yeah, he's a pleasant surprise. I admit I was wrong about my thoughts at the beginning of the season, before the season. But yeah, great bat, especially right now in this stretch. I mean, he's hit 3 triples in this last week. And literally we went 5 straight games with 6 runs, and he's a part of it. And we haven't had that. We haven't had a streak like that since July 2016. So maybe he's part of something that can ignite a fire. I don't know, but really great and pleasant acquisition.
Yeah, I think if you give anything less than an A on this, you're just wrong. I think this is a fantastic signing of $5 million. Even for a team like the Reds, that's kind of a drop in the bucket. Like that's dropping a bucket for a guy that's going to hit in the middle of your order. We've seen them spend a lot more money on a lot worse hitters. So Austin Hayes is a really good signing. My apologies to Elliot. I get so wrapped up. We'll get to the headlines sooner or later.
We'll do them.
I didn't realize
Make sure we get them in.
I promise.
I'm not gonna lie. Until you looked at me just then, and then I looked at the chat, I'm like, I forgot that we do headlines. I forgot that was a segment.
We just dove right. We were so excited about the Cincinnati Reds.
We were. That's what it was. That's
what actually threw us off was when we started talking about Spurs red shirts, and that's just.
And then you just went Reds.
Yeah. Then we just got right into the Reds. We're gonna do one more before we go to a break, and that one more in the Reds offseason moves is relief pitcher Scott Barlow, $2.5 million. Grade?
I would say a C-. Scott Barlow, I think, has been okay. If it's a high leverage situation, I don't want to see Scott Barlow in the game.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm all good without Scott Barlow. I think that was a filler. They needed some bodies in the bullpen, and they got one.
Yeah. Scott Barlow's thrown 22 innings, and I've felt good about none of them. So, I mean, he's been fine. He has a 4.3 ERA, a 1.37 WHIP. Those are fine numbers for a middle of the bullpen guy, but I'm knocking him down from the numbers just because of the feeling I get in my stomach when he comes into the game. I see that hair coming out of the bullpen.
Yeah.
Scott Barlow, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
With the other arms we have in there? So I think he's kind of hurt by that, too. How good a lot of the other relievers have been in this bullpen. You just don't want to see him. So I'll give him a C-.